Hey everyone, welcome to MLS 417, Hematology Lab. We're just going to do a little video today about the introduction to the microscope. This might be a review for some of you, might be brand new to others. That's okay. We're going to go over some buttons, some knobs, lenses, just the basics, and then we'll throw a slide on there to get you going with that. It'll be real simple. Please rewatch anything. If you need clarification on it, please let me know. Let's go. A few terms to think about when we are looking at the microscope. The first one is magnification, or simply making an object appear larger. The next one is resolution. So resolution is the ability to distinguish two very small, very closely spaced objects as separate entities. This microscope spinning in front of you is a bright field light microscope. It's going to give you a dark image on a light background. There's also dark field microscopes. Those will give you a light image on a dark background. Other types of light microscopes include phase contrast, differential interference contrast, fluorescence, confocal, two-photon, tons of different types of light microscopes for you to explore in your future. This is a bright field microscope. This is what we're going to be using. We look at the bottom again where our light source is shining through. Above that you can see that we have our condenser lens. On the condenser lens we have our diaphragm. Diaphragm can control the light going through. Typically on a lower objective we'll have it on the right. That will allow less light to come through. And on the left we'll have it for a higher objective, and that will allow more light to come through. At the very top of the microscope we have our eyepieces, or our oculars. Those are typically 10 times magnification. When you add those in with your objective lenses, that's often referred to as a compound microscope because of the two sets of lenses. And because we have two sets of lenses, we can't rely on what's written on our objective lens to be our total magnification. We have to remember that our eyepiece times our objective lens is our total magnification. Example would be we're doing a diff on 100x. We times that by 10 on our oculars, and now we actually have a total magnification of 1000. Going back to our microscope again, we have our nose piece. Attached to the nose piece are our objective lenses. Notice that when I'm spinning them, I'm actually spinning the nose piece, not pulling on the objective lenses. On this microscope we have a 4, a 10, a 40, and a 100. 4, 10, and 40 are just dry. They don't use any oil, and the 100 times magnification lens uses oil immersion. What that oil does is it's going to increase your resolution. You're going to get real crisp, clear images. Let's look at the knobs. On the left hand side here we have the coarse adjustment knob. It moves the stage up and down pretty drastically. Next to that we have the fine adjustment. If you look really closely, it is moving the stage up and down as well. Both of those knobs are used for focusing your specimen. If you look on the right hand side, you have your stage knob. That will move your stage horizontally. Go side to side, front to back. It's going to help you explore your specimen. Note that it doesn't help you to adjust the focus though. That's just going to be on your coarse and fine adjustments. Let's toss a slide on this thing. We're going to move our stage clip to the side and put our slide right in there, and it hugs it nice and tight. Make sure your microscope is plugged in and you can flip the switch to the on position. You'll also want to adjust your eyepieces. Everyone's is going to be a little bit different, so adjust them so you can see clearly under the microscope and it's comfortable for you. Okay, we're going to use the lowest objective and the coarse adjustment knob to get our specimen in focus. Right now we're on 4x. Take a peek at this. Use the fine adjustment to get it where we need it to be, and we can switch to the 10x. Normally I don't have a 4x, I usually start with a 10, but since you had it, I started with it. We'll take a peek at that. We are under 10 times magnification, well, actually 100. And when I'm changing objectives, once I have it focused, all I'm really turning is the fine adjustment, because it's already in focus from the first time. We'll kind of skip over looking at 40 for now. We'll just go right to 100. This is what you're going to be doing your differentials on. We're going to use the immersion oil. You want to be careful not to get on the 40 like I'm about to do. Whoop, almost. Again, we're just going to focus with the fine adjustment, and we'll take a peek under here what 100x looks like. We'll go into more differential stuff later, so technique and where to start and thickness of RBCs, but just for now you're getting a basic overview of the microscope, what it looks like. A bunch of RBCs here, there's a lymph right there. There were some neutrophils earlier. There's another neutrophil. That purple is just stained precipitate, just an artifact. If you're having trouble focusing, it might be that you just have a dirty lens. Take some lens paper and some lens cleaner and just wipe underneath the objective lens that's giving you problems. Dry it off with a new piece after that. Then take another new piece of lens paper and ball it up and wipe your oculars down. I used to breathe on that to get it foggy before I did this, but with COVID, I would advise against that. Let's talk about a few tips. Take a look at that immersion oil way off in the distance. Pretend we're on 10x right now. Let's zoom in on it. Now we're on 40. We'll zoom in on it again, and now we're on 100, and it stayed right in the center. Now let's do the same thing here. We want to zoom in on the immersion oil, so we're on 10x. We zoom in on, now we're on 40, and we zoom to 100, and now it's gone. So a little tip is to center what you want to see when you switch between objectives. Otherwise you might lose it. A big no-no we have in the lab, I talked about it earlier, is dragging your 40 objective through the oil. Be very careful, pay attention to where you're switching, what you're switching, so it doesn't happen. You may have noticed that there's a knob I didn't talk about, a knob that actually moves the condenser lens up and down. I usually only use that when I'm doing a wet mount or a hematometer count, but for the peripheral bloods, I usually have that all the way up to get the best results. Alright, you guys made it through the introduction to the microscope video. When we're done with our microscopes, we will unplug them and we'll wrap them up for storage. Make sure we put our cover on it too when we're done. If you guys have any questions today, please let me know. Be happy to answer them. Also, when we lift this up, we're going to make sure we grab it by the arm and the base. Thanks, everyone.